Say these 6 things every morning. Your life will shift. Before the world speaks to you, you must first speak to yourself. Each morning offers a quiet moment before the rush, a space where clarity can rise and intention can form. In this stillness, your first thoughts shape the rest of your day, not the messages from your phone, not the opinions of others, but the conversation you choose to have within. If you begin your day with power, presence, and self-awareness, then no storm outside can disturb the calm inside. These are 6 reminders to speak to your soul each morning, not as motivation, but as a daily return to your true self. Let us begin. You are not your past. Every sunrise is a reset. There is something sacred about the silence of early morning. Before the noise begins, before your attention is pulled in every direction, before the expectations and demands of others shape your actions, there is stillness. In that stillness, you are reminded that nothing is fixed, nothing is final, and nothing defines you except for what you decide in this very moment. The past has already played its part. We're left behind memories, consequences, lessons, perhaps even scars. But it is no longer here. What remains is not the event, but your relationship with it. And that relationship is yours to shift at any time. To carry the weight of your past into each day is to deny yourself the gift of growth. Yes, you've made mistakes. You've failed. You've fallen short. You've acted out of fear, anger, or confusion. But to believe that these moments are the truth of who you are is to trap yourself in a version of life that no longer exists. Every sunrise whispers a truth we forget too easily. You are allowed to begin again. Nature shows us this quietly but consistently. Trees shed their leaves, not in mourning, but to prepare for renewal. Rivers carve through stone, not with force, but with patience. The sun returns each morning, not because it must, but because it simply does. It is its nature to rise. And so it must become your nature too, to rise again and again, regardless of what came before. To say, I am not my past, is not to deny what happened. It is not to pretend that pain didn't occur, that regrets don't exist, or that memories don't linger. It is to understand that the meaning of the past is not fixed. It evolves as you evolve. It loses its grip when you stop feeding it guilt and shame. It begins to transform when you use it not as a weight, but as a foundation. Look at the moments that haunt you. The decisions you wish you hadn't made. The words you should have spoken or should have never said. The opportunities you missed because of fear, or the people you pushed away because of pain. These are not permanent definitions of who you are. They are snapshots, frozen moments in a timeline that continues to unfold. Growth is not about erasing the past. It's about using it wisely. Let your history become your teacher, not your prison. Let every painful experience refine you, not define you. Let every failure show you where you are ready to grow stronger, rather than where you should give up. Too often, we judge ourselves based on the version of us that existed when we didn't yet know better. But who you were then was doing the best they could with what they had. Now you have more awareness, more wisdom, more choice. That is progress. That is enough. You do not have to wait for some grand external sign to begin again. You don't need a new year, a new job, or a new relationship to reset your direction. You just need a new decision. A quiet, firm commitment to yourself. I will no longer let yesterday decide who I am today. The mind clings to what is familiar. Even if the familiar is painful, it is predictable. The past becomes a story we replay, not because we enjoy it, but because we have grown used to it. But just as easily as we tell that story, we can choose to tell a new one. You have permission to let go of the identity you created while you were surviving. The person you had to be when you were protecting yourself is not the person you must remain. Growth often feels like loss. Not because you are becoming less, but because you are shedding what is no longer aligned with your truth. That is why mornings matter. Not just because of what you do in them, but because of how you speak to yourself. Because in those first moments, before the day tells you who to be, you still have a chance to remember who you truly are. Tell yourself, I am not bound by the version of me from yesterday. I am not trapped in the cycle of regret. I am free to become, free to shift, free to move towards something better. Not because I am broken, but because I am growing. There is no expiration date on your transformation. No limit to how many times you're allowed to start again. As long as you are breathing, the invitation remains. Do not carry old weight into a new day. Do not let past shadows block the light of the present. Your mistakes are not curses, they are signals. Your regrets are not chains, they are doors. Walk through them. Each sunrise is a reset, not in the sky, but in your spirit. And so, when the light touches your face tomorrow morning, breathe deeply, stand tall, and with quiet confidence, say, I am not my past. I am not my pain. I am not my patterns. I am present. I am possible. I am powerful. Begin again. Move with purpose, not pressure. Peace creates power. There is a distinct difference between movement that is aligned and movement that is forced. One is rooted in intention, the other in fear. One feels like flow, the other like resistance. When you wake up each day, you are not required to rush. You are not required to prove, to chase, or to push endlessly just to feel worthy. The truth is, your life does not expand from pressure. It expands from clarity. Purpose is quiet. It does not shout. It does not beg for attention or validation. It does not thrive in chaos. It lives in the present. Purpose grows stronger in stillness. The more you listen, the more you hear it. And the more you hear it, the more calmly you move. Peace then becomes your compass, not the noise of urgency. In today's world, pressure is normalized. It is often mistaken for productivity, for ambition, for success. If you're not constantly busy, constantly grinding, constantly doing, you are made to feel like you're falling behind. But behind what? Behind whom? Time is not chasing you. The world is not your opponent. You are allowed to move at a pace that honors your well-being. In fact, that is where your true power lies. Pressure creates reaction. Purpose creates response. When you move under pressure, your energy becomes scattered. You say yes when you mean no. You overextend. You make decisions from fear of missing out rather than faith in your own timing. You try to keep up with everyone, forgetting that your path was never meant to look like theirs. But when you move with purpose, your decisions become precise. You act with clarity, not confusion. You pause when it's time to rest and act when it's time to create. You stop chasing moments and begin creating them. The need to force disappears, and what remains is a quiet, sustainable drive. Peace is not laziness. It is not a weakness. It is not a lack of movement. Peace is inner alignment. Peace is knowing that what you are doing comes from within, not from pressure to meet an external timeline. When your actions arise from peace, they carry strength, they carry focus, they carry depth. The strongest trees are not the ones that grow the fastest. They are the ones with the deepest roots. In the same way, a powerful life is not built from rushed decisions and constant activity. It is built from a steady, conscious connection to your own values, your own goals, your own reason for rising each day. Pressure often disguises itself as urgency. It tells you that everything must happen now, that if it doesn't, you failed. But the truth is, everything meaningful takes time. Mastery takes time. Healing takes time. Transformation, real transformation, takes time. And none of it can be rushed. Imagine walking through a forest. If you sprint through it, driven by pressure to reach the end, you miss the beauty. You miss the quiet lessons. You miss the feeling of the wind, the patterns of the light, the subtle signs along the way. But if you walk with presence, if you move with purpose, you begin to notice, you begin to understand, and eventually you find yourself exactly where you were meant to be, not because you fought. In those moments, you learn how strong you've become. You learn that your mind can lie, but your breath does not. That fear can feel real, but presence is stronger. That pain can shape you, but it does not have to define you. If you can lean into the discomfort without judgment, you start to understand its language. It may say, "This job no longer serves your growth," or "This relationship is draining your spirit," or "You're not being honest with yourself." These messages are not cruel. They are kind. They are course corrections. They are sacred reminders that your life is meant to stretch and evolve. So when the discomfort comes, don't silence it with noise. Don't numb it with distraction. Sit still. Listen. Trust that something is being revealed. Not as a punishment, but as a passage. The most powerful shifts in life rarely begin in joy. They begin with friction, in doubt, in tension. That is where the seed breaks open. That is where the skin sheds. That is where the mind cracks just enough to let in the light. You are not here to be comfortable all the time. You are here to grow, to deepen, to awaken. To awaken, and that means honoring the seasons where things feel heavy, where things don't make sense, where every step requires effort, because those seasons are not holding you back, they are shaping you. Discomfort is not the end. It is the beginning of clarity, the beginning of resilience, the beginning of a new chapter that can only start once the old one is fully felt and released. Let it come. Let it teach. Let it pass. And when it does, you will realize you are stronger, wiser, and more awake than you were before. This is the quiet gift hidden inside discomfort. It breaks down what no longer serves you so that you may finally become who you truly are. You are enough. Progress is already unfolding. There is a constant voice in the world telling you that you're not there yet, that you need to do more, have more, be more. It's subtle, but it's always present in the scrolling, the comparing, the goals you set based on what others have achieved. It whispers that something is missing, and until you fix it, you don't get to feel whole. But that's a lie. You are not broken. You are not behind. You are no less than anyone else just because your path looks different. Right now, as you are enough, not because of what you've accomplished, not because of what you plan to do, but because your worth isn't dependent on outcomes. It's rooted in existence. You've come farther than you think. The parts of yourself you once hid, you've started to accept. The fears that used to control you, you've learned to face. The thoughts that once drowned you, you now watch without attaching to them. That is progress. Maybe it's not loud or flashy, maybe it doesn't show up in numbers or milestones, but it's real. Growth is not always visible. Sometimes it happens in the quietest of moments. When you choose patience over anger. When you pause instead of reacting. When you show up even though no one is watching. These are the moments that shape you. The world might not see them, but you feel them, and they matter more than you know. You don't need to prove anything to deserve peace. You don't need to wait for some future version of yourself to begin appreciating who you are now. Life is not a race. You're not late. You're not off track. The timeline you're comparing yourself to is an illusion crafted from other people's stories, not your truth. Everything you've gone through has shaped you, not perfectly but purposefully. The setbacks, the doubts, the long nights where you wondered if you were enough, they all brought you to this point. And this point is powerful, not because it's the final destination, but because it's real, it's honest, it's yours. If you keep chasing the next thing, believing it will finally make you feel whole, you'll miss the truth. You've always been whole. You've always been worthy. The real journey isn't about becoming enough. It's about remembering you always were. Progress isn't always upward. Sometimes it's stillness. Sometimes it's stepping back. Sometimes it's simply holding on when everything inside you wants to give up. And yet you're still here. That alone is a testament to your strength. You are allowed to be a work in progress and still be enough. Growth doesn't cancel worthiness. You don't become more valuable when you achieve more. You are not a project to be fixed. You are a being to be respected by others. Yes, but first and most importantly, by yourself. There's power in choosing to believe in your enoughness. Even when the world doesn't reflect it back to you, it takes courage to stop chasing and start accepting. To say, I can want better, but I don't have to hate where I am now. That's not complacency. That's maturity. That's love. Progress unfolds quietly. Just as a seed breaks beneath the soil, long before you ever see the sprout. Your growth is happening beneath the surface. Every time you show up for yourself, every time you act with integrity, every time you try again despite the doubts, you are moving forward. Trust that timing. Trust that process. Not everything will make sense right away. Not everything will be linear. Some chapters will be messy, uncertain and slow, but slow progress is still progress. Healing is still progress. Learning to rest without guilt is still progress. There is no final version of you to arrive at. You are not here to reach perfection. You are here to evolve, to experience, to feel deeply, and live fully. And none of that requires you to become someone else. You already hold the strength you seek. The wisdom you chase is already inside of you. The peace you long for is found when you stop running from the present moment and begin to accept it fully. You don't have to do more today to prove that you matter. You don't have to hit a goal by a certain age to be considered successful. Your presence is your value. Your breath is your proof. You being here alive, aware, trying, that's more than enough. So breathe. Let go of the pressure to perform. Let go of the weight of not being there yet. Let go of the illusion that you're incomplete. And in that space, quiet, steady, honest, remind yourself that you are whole, that you are becoming, that progress is unfolding all around you and within you, even when it's not loud, even when it's not visible. The sun rises each day without asking for permission. The tides shift without applause. Your growth is the same, constant, gentle, unstoppable. You are enough, and you always have been. The journey back to yourself does not require a map. It requires attention. Each morning, each breath, each decision is a chance to return to your center. You are not your past. You are not the pressure placed upon you. You are not the voices that demand you do more just to feel worthy. You are something quieter, stronger. You are present. You are potentially unfolding in real time. When you move with purpose, instead of pressure, when you protect your energy as if it were sacred breath, when you sit with discomfort and let it teach rather than scare you, and when you remind yourself that you are enough, something shifts, not outside but within. Progress is not just found in results. It's found in awareness, in stillness, in the calm decision to grow with patience, to move with intention, and to honor where you are, even as you move toward where you're going. So carry these reminders gently, not as commands, but as companions. Let them shape the tone of your day, the rhythm of your choices, and the spirit of your becoming. You are not behind. You are not broken. You are becoming, and that in itself is enough.